tonight. You have to go back 12 years the last time Plainfield won a sectional, made it all the way to the Dome that year. Remember that place? There's no place like Dome. Well, P-Town is back, and tonight, so is Mooresville. They come from two counties that play in one big game. It's Friday Football Frenzy, the pregame show. It starts now.
You're watching HTSN. Get ready for high school football. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance presents the Friday Football Frenzy pregame show.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the great things about our HTSN games is the variety, not to mention the rivalries. Last week had a great one between Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern. Tonight it's Mooresville and Plainfield. How tight is this? Over the last 14 games played in this series, Plainfield's won 10, Mooresville has won 8. Added up, it gets 18 games. You know what I'm talking about. It's an awful tight rivalry. How about the Plainfield Quaker cheerleaders? In fact, they have something prepared for us. Stand by. Here we go, guys.
Hi, we're the cheerleaders from Plainfield High School, and this is Friday Football Frenzy.
Very well done. By the way, they were up. What time did you guys get up early this morning? 3:30. Okay, yeah. Blame Chance Walser on that one, okay? He was on our Good Morning Indiana show. Does a great job. We'll hear from Chance coming up in just a bit. But welcome everybody to Plainfield High School. I'm Dave First, and the Plainfield Quakers warming up to the right. Dark red jerseys, and of course Mooresville in their road whites to the left. Going to have a lot of fun tonight, get you set for this big rivalry, but of course this isn't the only game going on in Central Indiana. How about a huge one involving Carmel and Center Grove, two of the top 4 teams in the state in Class 5A. Our Brad Brown joins us live from Johnson County. Brad.
Dave, we're in the middle of a really big showdown here. Number 1 Carmel, number 4 Center Grove, really big because the mascots here. And we got the Center Grove cheerleaders here as well. They're fired up. There we go. Number 1 and number 4. Great matchup, great rivalry. We'll size this one up when we come back here to Johnson County. Jason Spell's back in the studio. What's going on in town tonight?
Thanks, Brad. Things are beginning to heat up and pick up there at CG. We have another big battle in store on the city's south side. A showdown between two undefeated teams. Bishop Chatard at Roncalli. The Trojans have held their opponents scoreless through the first 2 weeks of the season. I spoke to Rebel head coach Bruce Skyfreeze earlier this week. He says the key to tonight's game will be winning the battle in the trenches. We'll also check out some action here downtown. The IPS conference, Northwest at Tech. Northwest has had a hard time scoring this season, and Tech has had a hard time defending. If you like big plays and a lot of points, that is one game for you. It's Tech at Northwest, Chatard at Roncalli. Coming up tonight on Friday Football Frenzy, the late edition. But for now, we head back to Plainfield and our Dave First. Dave?
Well, I tell you what, a bunch of good games, Jays, throughout Central Indiana. Previews coming up in the next few minutes here on our HTSN pregame show. And, of course, highlights, post-game reaction tonight at 11 o'clock over on RTV6. How big is Plainfield High School? I mean, they have their own logo on the game balls. That's pretty cool. By the way, what's also pretty cool is the fact we might be having some cooler weather coming in at some point here. The remnants of Hurricane Isaac are heading our way. Will we see any rain tonight? That's the question for meteorologist Kevin Gregory back in the RTV6 studio. Kevin.
And I noticed that you're dry right now in Plainfield, and we were also dry for Brad down in Johnson County at Center Grove. It's 83. It's so humid. That's going to be the story of the night in many locations. Our kickoff temperature will be right about 83 degrees. Isolated showers are possible, especially anywhere south of Indianapolis. Show you True View radar very quickly. Rain from Bloomington to Seymour that will drift north. But again, most locations will stay dry but yet wet, Dave, because of the humidity. They'll be sweating big time tonight.
Did you say something about sweating? Yeah, okay. A little bit muggy tonight, Kevin. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock and at 11 o'clock, of course, over on RTV6. Just a quick look at Plainfield. This is a battle and a contrast of styles, too, because really Plainfield is more of a run-first offense, whereas you take a look at Mooresville, they are more of a pass-first offense, and that is something new. At Mooresville, an interesting story, a program that 6 years ago became a regular in the regional round under head coach Mark Bless. He moved on. They hired Kevin Hutchins from Monrovia. That didn't work out, so in comes new head coach Chad Dockery. In fact, take a look at their practice from earlier in the week, and Dockery is running a completely different system than Hutchins did. Really a wide-open West Coast style offense. He's a guy that is from the Evansville area originally, left there to coach in South Carolina for 10 years before now coming back, and now he leads the Pioneers. The change in systems isn't easy, but each week Mooresville is making strides.
We keep achieving better goals each week to try to meet our goal for the end of the year, and that's what we're reaching.
It takes a lot of hard work. This week, these practices have been 10 times, 100 times better than what they usually are. We picked it up big time this week. We're ready to go for this big rivalry game we got Friday.
It's going to be a tough matchup for us. You know, our kids always get excited about it here, Plainfield being so close, that there's that big rivalry there. So, you know, it'll be nice playing a team closer to us than our previous two. But, you know, once again, we step into week 3 with a tough opponent.
Well, they are improving, but the Mid-State Conference is not easy, led right now by Plainfield, Martinsville, Greenwood, and Franklin. Whiteland sits at 1-1. Mooresville and Decatur Central still looking for their first wins of the season. I'm going to saunter on over here because head coach Chad Dockery will join us here in a bit after he wraps things up with the referees. What are you guys talking about? I've always wondered what the officials talk about with the head coach right before the game. Anybody want to step up to the plate on that one?
I'll let the referee.
Yeah, let the white hat take care of it.
If we told you, then our secret would be out.
Keep it even, fellas. Keep it even. But Chad Dockery joins us for just a bit, and this is your first rivalry game between Mooresville and Plainfield. Great atmosphere here.
It is a great atmosphere. You know, the weather's ended up being really nice. Kids are excited. You know, being new here to the area, it's been a learning experience this week. They've told me big rivalry, hot competition, get used to it. So everybody's excited to kick this one off tonight.
You talked about your style of play. It's really a 180 from what was there previous. How difficult is that to implement a new system like this?
You know, we had a plan in place. We laid a foundation and said this is what we want to do going into the summer practices and camp, and we've had some learning curves that we've had to adjust to, but for the most part the kids have been very receptive to it. Style of play spreads the ball around, gets a lot of kids involved. They're having fun, so they've adapted pretty quickly.
A win would feel good tonight. Good luck to you.
A win would feel great. Thank you very much.
Chad Dockery, head coach at Mooresville, as we take a look at Plainfield as well. I tell you what, for Plainfield, they're doing well, playing without a loss, but it's a loss really that came some 3 years ago that they still think about to this day.
Signs of success are everywhere, from plays run with precision to demands on defense. Plainfield High enjoying a 2-0 start to the season, looking for more. But there are other signs, the initials BK being a constant in honor of Ben Kempf, a freshman offensive lineman who died 3 years ago in a moped accident, a life remembered to this day.
He was my cousin, and then the day I heard about it, it just rattled me. I mean, I live for him every day, and I just keep him in my prayers and thoughts. I know he's looking over me every day.
Fellow offensive lineman Josh Morris isn't alone. Kemp's class, now all seniors. About a dozen grew up with Ben, all sporting BK initials on their helmet or even a Ben Kemp bracelet.
What kind of a guy was he?
He was a great kid. He was funny. He was nice. He was understanding of all people, and I don't think there was a person out there that didn't like him.
He was a whole lot of my motivation over summer to getting through all the training and stuff, but it's just special right now.
Head coach Brian Woodard not only leads the Quakers on the field, but 3 years ago found himself leading these young men off it as well.
You know, it's one of those instances that a coach, a football team, a football family never wants to have to deal with, and my hat goes off to our kids for their way that they have gotten through it, and I think more than anything, their way of honoring Ben is playing their tails off on Friday night, and what a great way to do that. We always talk, one of the last things we always say before we leave the locker room is play for those who can't play, play for those who aren't here today, and I know our seniors especially are doing that for Ben and his family.
Ben's parents still come to the games. Ben's teammates as determined as ever to remember.
I feel like the sticker on the helmet is a good physical reminder, but I remember him every single time I come out here and wishing that I was playing, knowing that he's here and just out there with us the entire time.
But there's a widely held opinion on this team that perhaps in some spiritual way, Ben still is out there. Success has been hard to come by in Plainfield until now.
2-0, you guys are off to something special. Maybe Ben's got something to do with this.
Yeah, I think he does. I know he's right there next to me all the time, so I think he's got our backs and he's helping us out.
These 2 games, it's been something special. I don't know if it's him out there with us. It's just a seriously awesome feeling to be 2-0 right now after having a really bad season last year.
I think the neat thing that I've really taken from it is it's not something that they talk about every day. It's not something that they're always bringing up. It's one of those things that's it's understood. It's understood amongst our seniors that, yeah, we're playing for this year, the 2012 season, and all the things that come with that, but there's also some hidden meanings behind it too. And we don't have to talk about them every day. We just know that it's there. And on Friday nights when those seniors look at each other and they look at me, we know what we're playing for.
Well, it takes a little glance of the eye. You know exactly what they're thinking about. So.
That's right.
A feeling even more special given the game tonight against rival Mooresville.
Every year it's always a close game, and I love to play them, and I'm sure they love to play us.
The talk back and forth is pretty intense as well, I'm guessing here.
Yeah, I mean we see him so much. I mean, yeah, I try to stay away from the social network and stuff, but it's pretty.
No Twitter, no Facebook.
No, I stay away from.
Not this week, right?
Yeah.
Perhaps the sky is the limit for this team, beating Mooresville, part of this magic run, just the way Ben would have wanted it.
What's the ultimate goal for this team and heck, for that matter, for Ben?
We obviously, right now, we want to beat Mooresville, get first sectional game, and winning sectionals. That would be fantastic.
Who knows what after that?
Yeah.
Without question, Ben Kemp on the minds of all the Plainfield Quakers here tonight, as he has been for the last 3 years. We'll take a quick break. Back with more. Jason Spells, more on Ron Colley and Chittard, Brad Brown and Johnson County. Greg Rakestraw will call the action tonight. We'll break things down as we continue here live on HTSN.
We're here early this morning. Everybody wave. Say hi to the fans. We've got the drum corps out here hanging out with us early. We've got the whole band. We got the flag corps. It's always a party getting ready for the Mooresville Plainfield game. A lot of activity, a lot of hype, a lot of build-up throughout the day. Always having fun this morning. For now, guys, back to you.
That's our chance, Walser, as our Friday Football Frenzy coverage begins bright and early every week on Good Morning Indiana. And next week, another good matchup, 2A football, Guerin Catholic at 2A number 8, Heritage Christian. Pregame, of course, begins at 6:30 on HTSN. Jerry Baker and Jan Bozier with the call at 7 next week on HTSN. All right, ever wonder how they manage the field turf at these stadiums? Now, earlier in the week, they refurbished this field here at Plainfield. It actually had too much of those little rubber bits in the turf, so they raked it out, picked up about 20,000 pounds of the stuff. A local company called Field Groomers does this. They also do Lucas Oil Stadium, along with high school fields from Michigan to Illinois. That's my Carl Spackler tidbit of the day. Day first, once again, back live at Plainfield High School. Greg Rakestraw will be helping call the action on the sidelines here for HTSN. I bet you didn't know how they did that.
No, and whatever you ask me for the next 3 minutes, I'm going to think about Cinderella's story and Chance the Masters champion and things like that. I've completely lost my interest in this game.
No, you haven't, because this is a big rivalry game. Should be a good game.
It should be a very good game. These two teams have always been in the upper echelon of the Mid-State Conference. It was really rare for both these teams to take a step back last year, a change in the coaching staff at Mooresville, and for Plainfield, really, injuries ravaged their season. First time they've had a losing season in a long time.
Let's take a look at your keys to the game. Return to form for Plainfield.
And it alludes to what we talked about just a moment ago. They were 2-8 last year. They actually won their first 2 games. It was this game last year that started their downhill slide. Injury on top of injury. They want to return to form. Hadn't had a losing season since 1996, and they will do so by being more physical and trying to run the football right at your defense.
Got about 30 seconds for Mooresville. How about some D in this one?
Yeah, they've given up 42 and 44 points. Those are not winning numbers. It's going to be tough to find D against a good Plainfield team, but they've got to get some stops defensively tonight.
How about some solid conference starts? This game is going to be huge when it comes to that.
Yeah, Greenwood Greenwood is a very good team in this Mid-State Conference here. Martinsville pretty good as well. So whoever loses tonight's game, Dave, a little behind the 8 ball at 0-1.
He, my friend, is the Cinderella story of this game. So enjoy it.
Masters champion. Green jackets for all.
Or just black shirts. Hey, let's head out to Johnson County. Brad is standing by. Another big one. 2 of the top 4 teams, and that's 5A. Brad.
Yeah, Carmel and Cedar Grove. These people are looking for seats because they're filling it up down here at CGHS about 15 minutes before kickoff. Great rivalry between these two teams, as we've been talking about rivals all week. Carmel number 1, Cedar Grove number 4. Carmel's won 4 straight in the series. We've paid a visit to CG practice this week, and as you might guess, the last win they got in the series was in the 08 state championship game. So these guys are more than fired up for this one. One game at a time. We hear that a lot as the season goes on, but it's hard to get past that when you've got the number 1 team coming to play on your home field.
Kids seem to be a little different nowadays. It's not as much as the old traditional, my brother played them and 5 years ago, it's just the next week I think they get fired up for all the MIC teams in a big way.
It's Carmel. More to it?
Personally, yes. Coach Moore, it's just the next game, but I mean, I've been looking forward to this game since Friday at 11 o'clock.
It's a lot different. I mean, yesterday was probably the toughest practice we've had all season. It was really intense. But, I mean, it's next game, right? But this week, it's a big game.
Is there a little more of a buzz around here these first couple of days of the week, knowing that it's the Carmel game? It's this game now?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. You get the first 2 games under your belt and you feel good about it, but we're definitely ready to come out and have some good competition and ready to play some good football.
We do know it will be good football. It always is between these two teams. A look at some of the previous matchups between them. That last one coming in the semi-state last year. Carmel winning that game on their way to a state title. We'll have a full recap of this one coming up tonight at 11, Dave. Chance there could be a lot of points scored in this one. A lot of great talent on both sides of the ball, but offensively in particular as well. Jason Spells back at the studio. Good one in town tonight as well. Jason has that one for us.
Thanks, Brad. The Greyhounds and the Trojans aren't the only 2 undefeateds going head-to-head tonight on the south side. How about 2-0 Bishop Chatard versus 2-0 Roncalli? These 2 parochial schools have had epic battles over the year. Tonight's game should be no different. Bishop Chatard has been holding teams scoreless this season, but the Rebels, they have been doing their thing as well, putting up nearly 24 points a game. The Rebels are young this year, a lot of juniors at key positions. Roncalli head coach Bruce Seifries says he isn't worried about the youth and how they will play in tonight, but he admits his physically smaller team will have a hard fight against Chatard.
We cannot do anything about the height and weight factor. They do average. I think their average weight is on their offensive line is actually bigger, heavier than our biggest starting offensive lineman. And we can control how hard we play and how well we execute and how well we stay focused and how well we do our job.
Take a look at this series in recent years. Both teams have been pretty evenly matched. Chatard with the overall series lead by 1 game. The Trojans defeated the Rebels by 33 last year. So the Rebels will be looking for a little revenge tonight. We'll have full highlights from Chatard at Roncalli as well as Northwest at Tech. And coming up after the break, we head back to Plainfield to catch up with Jerry Baker and Jan Bozier. Stay tuned as Friday Football Frenzy continues.
Welcome back now to Plainfield High School. Our pregame show continues tonight here on HTSN. Jerry Baker along with Big Jan Bozier getting set for tonight's game of the week, Friday night football, and glad to have you along. Jan, last week we had one of the most intense rivalries in the state of Indiana, Hamilton Southeastern and Fishers. This game tonight may not be quite as intense, but this is truly kind of a backyard battle likewise, because you got 2 schools, Mooresville and Plainfield, that are about 10 miles apart.
It's a big rivalry, and in fact, this is their conference game tonight, as well as ultimately they'll play in the same sectional. So a lot on the line for tonight's ball game, Jerry.
Mooresville comes into this ball game without having won a game in the first 2 games of the season. They're 0-2. They've scored a lot of points, but they can't seem to stop anybody.
Defense has been a difficulty, and they'll have to play much better defense. But they led, and they played some really good opponents. Lebanon 2-0, Southport 1-1, both very good preseason opponents, so they'll have to have their A game against Plainfield.
Like they had a shot at Southport last week halfway through the 4th quarter. They were in front in that ball game. Now let's talk a brief minute here about Plainfield. This is a ball club that over the years has proven to be very, very steady. They're undefeated in the first 2 games of the year.
Well, they're very balanced now. When you think of Plainfield, you think of running hard-nosed football. But Jacob J is throwing the football very well, averaging 9 yards per attempt. So look for them to be very balanced tonight against Mooresville.
Well, as you can see, it is another bright, sunny, very hot, very humid day here, so that may indeed play a part of tonight's football game. All right, we're going to head to the press box, and Dave, will toss it back to you right now. Get ready for the start of the opening game.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Jerry Baker, Jan Bozier set to call the action here in just a few seconds now at Plainfield High School. As you see, everything's getting ready. Bands in place, cheerleaders in place. So waiting for Plainfield to come on out after their final instructions from their coaching staff. Don't forget, tonight, 11 o'clock, RTV6. We're heading to Tri-West, Brownsburg, coverage of Carmel, Center Grove, Pike, and Southport. Also heading to Tech. Don't forget about those parochial powers, Chittard and Roncalli, South Decatur, and Knightstown. All the highlights, post-game reaction coming your way over on RTV6 at 11 o'clock. Week 3 already of Friday Football Frenzy. You guys ready to go? These are the Water Boys here from Plainfield. You ready?
Yeah.
So you almost missed your big opportunity here, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to win?
Plainfield all the way.
Yeah, you got a score? You got a prediction?
I'm thinking 25, 17, 25.
See, you always ask the Water Boys because these guys know exactly what's going on. Hey, enjoy it tonight, okay?
Thanks.
Good luck to you guys. Plainfield, Mooresville, right here in HTSN. Enjoy it.
On TV, online, on your mobile device. Stay connected with RTV6.